Okay. This is Juan Felipe, my second son. He was 16 months old when he fell from an 8th floor in Cartagena, Colombia, my country, 13 years ago. This little baby, I didn't give birth to this one though, but this little one also passed away in a public hospital. I was volunteering for a full year. And they both passed within 4 days. The difference was that my own son was an accident, but this little one passed because his teen mom failed to raise $30 to pay for his treatment. And I had that money in my pocket that day. But that money was needed a few days before. So I lived in Cartagena for 2.5 years, 1998 with my husband and my 2 baby boys. And Cartagena, I don't know if you've been there, but Cartagena is this beautiful city located at the northern Caribbean part of Colombia. But when you go there, it's totally surrounded by misery and despair. That's why I started volunteering in this public hospital, maternity hospital, and a couple of days a week for a full year in that neonatal unit. If I could call that a unit, because there were only babies in cradles, a couple of babies, sick babies. And I would spend hours there, and I remember coming on a Tuesday, and I would turn around and say, "What happened to the baby over here?" And the nurses came to me and said, "That baby died." "And what about the one over there?" They said, "Oh, that one too." So it was sort of a normal thing. And, these things, I was, opening this door where it was too big of a problem to deal with. So I said, "God, that's it. I'm not standing still. There are babies dying out there, and I felt nobody was doing anything." So as a businesswoman, I was back then working with an American company, partnering with them actually. I said, well, in order to do this, I need to think about a strategic thinking and model that would affect the highest impact possible, the highest number of people. So this is where I started, said, well, but it's going to take a full life commitment. So the first year, I started studying the numbers like any business person. And this is what I found. Cartagena used to have the highest infant mortality rate in the whole country. 48 deaths per 1,000 born alive. While in the US, we're 6.8. It was the year 2000, right? And I turned around and said, where are these babies dying? And it was the hospital I was volunteering. Actually, there were 65 deaths per 1,000. 750 babies used to die a year, most of them preventable causes. God, and I said, this is too big for me. This is such a big problem. And then I said, well, I should start from the very beginning. Let's target the hospital. And then I asked myself, where is this hospital in the hemisphere where I can find the lowest infant mortality rate? And it was in California, in Anaheim. And I went there. And I found out that there were 4 key aspects. The first, medical protocols, high-tech equipment, high standard medical staff, and a system who will pay for the bills. Okay, so I brought that to Colombia. I sort of Colombianized it. And I faced another challenge, the fundraising. nobody would give me money. People thought I was crazy. That hasn't changed much, though. But we raised the money, and we built a state-of-the-art intensive care unit for babies. We equipped it. We operated it for a few years. And then we said, God, we need to measure ourselves. We brought some experts. And after 6, 7 years of operations, this is what we got. We lowered the total infant mortality rate by 79%. God, we have saved more than 3,200 babies. And it didn't cost more than $600,000. You believe that? Oh, I was so happy. And then I said, I'm not happy enough. Because where are these children coming from? We're saving those babies' lives, but they're trapped in poverty. And they're trapped because their mothers are trapped. And then I turned around and said, let's study the facts. Colombia, listen. 1/3 of our population still under the poverty line. 19% of women who give birth are teenagers. Then shifted, Cartagena. 68% of the population, 1 million people over there, still under the poverty line. 30% of women who give birth are teenagers. You know what happens over there? You really want to know what happens? Well, these girls, they're in extreme poverty conditions. They're completely trapped in poverty. They're sexually abused. And that really concerns me. But once again, I said, God, I need to make another model to break that poverty cycle, but make it in a sustainable, replicable way and create the highest social impact possible. Once again, a strategic-driven mind. So that's what I find in these communities, a lot of problems. But we also found that what really perpetuates poverty in our nations in Latin America is teen pregnancy. There's a close correlation between poverty and teen pregnancy. And Colombia today is #1 in South America. And we started with these girls, teens. And you find faces like this one. Like Roxana, she was sexually abused, raped by her sister ex-boyfriend when she was 15. She's now in the middle of the program. And you find all these things, but you also find that girls over there, they just get pregnant. And they get pregnant because they're repeating the same paradigms of their mothers and grandmothers who were teen moms as well. All they see and all they learn is what they have in their communities, in the fish tank. Oh dear, so we had this problem back again and said, we need to figure out in a very short term how to break that cycle of poverty. So this is what we call the 360 degrees intervention. So we bring those girls between 2 to 4 years, and we don't have a shelter. They come like if they go to school on a daily basis. The first 6 months are the most important ones. These girls are either pregnant or just deliver their babies. We provide them with education, healthcare, nutrition, the basics. But that's the easy part. We give them a whole world of empowerment, dignity. God, dignity is not, you don't input poor things to the poor. They're tired of being poor. You have to give them the very best. And the second phase, a lot of education. They need to graduate from high school, and we have scholarship for college and careers, technical careers. And then, along the way, we teach them how to work. And they start earning a little bit of money. I haven't seen such a powerful thing as a woman earning money. They become independent. It's amazing. And we have what we call the productive workshops. If you go there ever, there are quite a few people here that have been in Cartagena to our foundation, but if you really go there, these productive workshops enable these girls to acquire the expertise the industry needs. So it's a demand and supply kind of thing where we match. So this is what I really love. The two key drivers, how we measure ourselves, like usual, earning a stable income, and having a responsible sex life, because we know that if they get pregnant in the short term, back to poverty. What we really do, the bottom line, is that we take them out of that fish tank and provide them with this whole world of opportunities. In fact, out there, they're not victims anymore, see? They're now taking part of an active and progressive society. We have worked with 2,700 teen moms since the year 2004. 95% of them have a responsible sex life. That's so very important. And 72% of them either study or work. I want to see that face in every single girl of mine. And you know, the bottom line, we cannot get confused between change and transformation that leads into progress, you know? Because usually people change circumstances. But with love, compassion, structure, and passion, we're not changing circumstances, we're changing their realities, you know? And after all these years, what started as a painful and sad story, it's a love story of Juanfe. We work together, we're a team. He cannot transform without his mom. And I certainly cannot do it either by myself. And that's what I find is the real power of love, that connection between both to change that reality, this one. Thank you.